This is the last in a 4-part series of shirim about October 7th Revisited. They're sponsored and inspired by Rina Shalamis Basar Yocheved and Yehudis Mali Basar Yocheved, two exceptionally fine young ladies who should find their Zivug Hogan Bakar of Mamish. If you want to get married to Noshim Tzidkanios, this is the address. I'd like to finalize these shirim with something very powerful. The Gra says like this. The Gra says that there are 3 stages of Amun and Bitachon. The first stage is when the Sarah is taking place. When the Sarah is taking place, when vicious terrorists were killing Jews all throughout Israel and capturing them and taking them hostages. The goal then was, Vani b'chastecha patachti, believe in Hashem. Strengthen your emunah in Kadosh Baruch Hu. Of course, we need army. We need to take physical measures to help them, to defend the Jewish people. We need people learning Torah diligently. Rebbe Yoshe Paskins, that it used to be one Torah student was enough to protect the soldier. Rebbe Yoshe Paskins, many years ago, about 15 years ago, that you need 10 Torah students for every soldier to give them proper protection. He also paskins that any Torah student who's lax during a time of war cannot say that their hands are free of blood. There's a great responsibility on all the Torah students during this time to learn with the greatest diligence. Don't waste a moment. This is protecting the Jewish people. This is all part of Ani b'chastecha b'tachti. But what happens after that? What happens when Bezrat Hashem, very soon, the Yeshua will come? Says the Gra, the next stage is Yogel Libi B'Shuasecha. When the Yeshua comes, and the truth is, it's coming right now. The miracles we're seeing daily, bombs falling in open fields, bombs falling in places, into the waters, into places, uninhabited houses. This has to be Yogel Libi B'Shuasecha. This is all part of Yeshua. But there's the final stage, says the Gra. The final stage is Ashir Hashem Ki Gamal Alai. To sing Shira to the Bari Olam, to sing to God when the final Yeshua, when the final redemption takes place. And how does that happen? What is that song going to sound like? So the Maharal explains as follows. And this is what I told these 2 young ladies. They were so disturbed by what happened on October 7th, and we should all be disturbed. It should all hurt us that so much Jewish blood was spilled. Albeit, there were idols there, there was Gili riots going on there. That's not an issue. We have to be disturbed when Jewish blood is spilled. My wife's cousin was there, and he was one of the few people there not on drugs, and he saved 5 people's lives. How did he commemorate this great miracle? He got a tattoo on his hand with 5 boxes. Apparently each box shows you saved one person's life. It's so sad that so many Jews are far away from Torah. But it was a terrible thing. We should all be bothered by this. But I asked them, there was something even more terrible that took place in our history. And that was Shibud Mitzrayim. For over 100 years, approximately, the Jews were enslaved. They were tortured. It was brutal treatment. Hundreds of babies were thrown, thousands and thousands, in fact, of babies were slain, thrown into water, thrown into cement walls. Moshe Rabbeinu questioned God's ways. God let him take out one baby, and that was Micha, who brought a pestle into the Yam, when they crossed the Yam. Hashem knows everything that's going on, and everything is being directed by His infinite wisdom. Even though it's hard for us to perceive this, it's difficult, but this is what our Emunah has to teach us. And that was Shibud Mitzrayim. When the Jewish people, on the 15th of Nisan, were merited to get out of Mitzrayim, miraculously, you would think at that time, that was the time to sing Shira. And in fact, there was a Shira. Rav Hai Gaon teaches us that the Hallel of Seder night is a Shira. It's singing to Hashem over the redemption that we'd have from Mitzrayim. The Sforno explains that the Korban Pesach is a Korban Toda. Before they left Mitzrayim, they thanked Hashem for the redemption that was about to take place. But it wasn't complete. Leaving Mitzrayim wasn't complete. The real Shira only took place 7 days later, when the Jewish people were Zoiche to cross the Yam Suf miraculously. When the Yam Suf split for them, and they went through, and then came together and killed the Mitzrayim. How can we understand this Shira, and what will our Shira sound like? The Maharal explains that Shira comes from the word shur, a circle. We sing Shira when we come full circle. We've come full circle. When we see the tribulations, when we see October 7th, when we see all the missiles that fell, when we see all the salvations, and we're going to see a redemption from our enemies. We saw not long ago, a miraculous attack on Lebanon using pagers. Although the Mossad must be complimented for the brilliant idea. Who put that in their head? Who put this idea into their brain? It was none other than the Borei Olam himself. The Borei Olam gave him the idea. Shira is when things come full circle. When we see God's hand, when we see something that looked like complete and total destruction, the end, Chas v'shalom, of the Jewish people. An attack, such a vicious attack as October 7th. B'ezrat Hashem, when we see it come full circle, then we'll sing Shira. The Maharal explains that every single Mitzri, the more he'd been afflicted in Mitzrayim, the more he suffered, the more he was tortured, the greater the level of divine revelation took place there on the Yam. Somebody was tortured a little bit, there was a little bit of divine revelation on the Yam of Shechina. Somebody was tortured tremendously, this Mitzri was punished, and the revelation of Hashem's divine hand was greater and greater. Every Jew understood and appreciated the fact they had suffered. They appreciated that it was this suffering that was bringing the Gilui Shechina now at the Yam. They thanked Hashem for all the suffering in retrospect, L'mafreya. And that's Ashir L'Hashem ki gamal alai. When a person goes through the tribulations, he keeps his emunah Hashem, and he feels exultation at the time of the redemption. Then afterwards, the next level is to sing Shira. Ashir L'Hashem ki gamal alai. This is our avoda now. Our avoda now is to strengthen our emunah. Every time Hashem sends a missile and it doesn't hit, we should be Yaga Libi B'Yeshua Secha. This is all part of Hashem's Yeshua. But the final avoda will be, B'ezrat Hashem, it should be very, very soon, Ashir L'Hashem ki gamal alai. We'll sing to God because we've come full circle. We've seen how not just the redemption is God's hands, but how the difficulties was also God's hands. There will come a day when it will be clear that October 7th was a tragedy that turned into a impetus, into a part of the Shira that we will sing. It's a part of the Shira. We will understand that. Just as Klal Yisrael understood at the Yam Suf, the more they'd been tortured, the more they'd been inflicted, the more brutal their treatment, the more the divine revelation was. So too, there will come a day when October 7th will be transformed from a day of mourning to a day of great joy. Because it was on that day that Hashem's great honor will be revealed in a very great way. My friends, we've spoken here about 4 classes now, about October 7th, how we have to be bothered. We have to be bothered the way it happened. We have to reach deep into our hearts. We have to work on our emunah, and we have to understand that Me'ez Hashem ha'isazos. This came from the Borei Olam. This was from the Borei Olam, and Hashem has orchestrated everything that's going on. We have to know that one day we're going to sing Shira, as Rav Zev Leff says. He says there's a minhag to throw away your kinas on Tisha B'Av, or to put them in Geniza. He says, I don't throw them away, because one day we'll say these kinas with joy. We'll understand why all the suffering of Klal Yisrael was really good. That day should come very, very quickly. Amen. Kein Terutzan.